Hey, you have a 28 millimeter RPG here. We're gonna watch something. I'm not sub to this guy, but I will go ahead and sub to the Beck Me Berserker. Anyways, I don't play Beck Me. Um, if I'm gonna play something that's kind of in that kind of realm of being an offshoot of D&D, it would be Castles and Crusades, obviously. But I decided to put this little bit of a video together. Just this I totally agree with, and he's reflecting on the virtual tabletop of the direct D&D, the little show that they put on. So let's watch this, okay?
Your character stands atop a grassy hill. The sun glints off your golden hair, rippling in the warm breeze. You absent-mindedly rub the gem-studded hilt of your magic sword, and glance over at the dwarf and elf, bickering as usual about how to load the horses. The magic user has memorized her spells and says she's ready to go. A dangerous dungeon entrance gapes at you from the mountain nearby, and inside a fearsome dragon awaits. Time to get moving. Frank Menser, 1983. Hi, I'm Bakeme Berserker and welcome back to my channel. This text is from the first page of the famous Red Box Basic Rules. You know, the one with that picture of the warrior and the dragon. I had to go back and read it again after seeing the latest promotional release from what's now being called D&D Direct, which is clearly some attempt to distinguish one corporate arm of Wizard of the Coast D&D brand from another. This featured an extended segment on the new Dungeons & Dragons virtual tabletop offer, which, I have to be honest, left me feeling a bit cold. Don't get me wrong, the eye candy was amazing, but I have to agree with something the Basic Expert said over on his channel. 10 years ago I might have been all over this, but in those 10 years I've played with numerous VTTs, resulting in the same lingering feeling of dissatisfaction with each and every one of them. Now that's not limited to their technical capabilities. No, each one was at the top of its field at a specific moment in time. It's more than that. Obviously, I missed being in the same room as my players, but that wasn't the core offer of early VTTs.
So I'm just gonna cut in here. I'll let you guys go ahead and watch his video. I'll link it down below. But what I fundamentally totally relate to here is if you watch my first couple of games of me playing Traveler with my group, and we were trying to use all kind of like the bells and whistles and stuff. So we were using the targeting and all the automatic, damage applications, that sort of stuff, all that sort of stuff that was, you know, the maps, the tokens and stuff. I hate that. I hated it. You can absolutely see me going, oh, this sucks. But I was trying to get through. I'm all for using a virtual tabletop. However, it's got to be done in the right way. And the reasons, it's because you can't have an actual real role playing experience using the virtual tabletop. You can have um a slow computer simulation game, board game on it. That you can definitely have if you want to play that way. But a role playing game, and 5e is not a role playing game, it is a board game. So it's perfectly suited to this kind of thing where you have the automated roles and stuff like that. It's totally okay if you want to play a board game. But if I'm playing a role playing game, I just want to have just basics. So the reason why I would use a virtual tabletop is to use it sparingly and not use it with all the bells and whistles. I went ahead and gave him a little bit of um, I said here, I'm not sure if you could see it 100% properly there, but maybe we can go ahead and modify this window a little bit so we can get to see what I'm saying here. There we go. There's my I guess my avatar, the 28, in there. I said I stopped using bells and whistles in the virtual tabletop. I just use it for the character sheets, a common die roller, and maybe show an image of something, usually an NPC portrait or a scenic visual. That's it. No maps, no minis or tokens. We stopped doing that. And I'm going to explain why I stopped doing that. It is because part of this theater of the mind thing and the more immersion that you get out of it. Now, um, theater of the mind is more powerful. It changes the way you present your game as a game master. Today's gamers are trying to play, once again, like I'm saying, a computer board game with a virtual tabletop. And a role playing game was never meant to be played this way. Because now if I cast away the maps and minis and all that stuff, I'm able on the fly as a game master to put the players in any situation within a second. Like, no problem. They can be in any environment automatically. You don't. The thing is with the virtual tabletop, you need to prearrange your scenes. You need to make a map for everything. And usually the players can go off the rails, unless you're like stringent game master where you want them on rails for the whole thing. You're not giving them any leeway. Then they will go to this thing, and voila, we get the big bad guy at the end. Um, but most of the times the players will technically go off the rails. And that's the thing. You want the players to have the freedom to do what they want. The player wants to explore down the side of the cliff, and although they see the image of a cavern and they see a drop off and they know they have to go past this chasm to get to the other side. Maybe they want to explore down there and you don't have a map for that because you thought, they're not gonna, they're just gonna go jump across and avoid death kind of thing, or they're gonna figure out a way. And then, but what if they actually want to crawl down there and check things out and you don't have a map? Then you kind of feel like you're kind of unprepared and you don't have, like, compared to all the visuals you've given them before, you don't have anything visually appealing like that to continue on. So theater of the mind gets rid of all of that problem. You're going by what you like. You as a game master can have a map in front of you, but the thing is to convey what you are seeing to the players is key. Go ahead and watch lots of listen to audibles of your favorite author. You know, listen to how they are using their cadence and voice, and how they are, representing the scenes. They're not using a whole lot of flowery, most of them are not using a lot of flowery words and stuff like that to describe it. It's letting your brain imagine a lot of the stuff, as you want your players to. So when the thing is I'm trying to get away from is what I see a lot of game masters doing, and I see a lot of them showing on their playthroughs, is watching a 3-hour vid of gamers slowly crawling up a corridor in a virtual tabletop, having maybe 2 encounters, and that's a total waste of time. 3 hours of your life gone. You could have so much more. And I'm trying to show you guys with my own videos, with my live streams. My live streams are only 90 minutes long. It's enough for you to sit down and enjoy what we're doing. We're not perfect at it. We're not, the experts or whatever. But I'm going by, what I learn as I keep on going through this and what I'm remembering and recalling from the days when we used to play Total Theater of the Mind. Now, the idea behind Theater of the Mind is you don't have to prepare any maps. So your game is more fluid. Therefore, the players can go anywhere they want. They can go down that, that slope, and you can describe them, going down the rope and hearing awkward noises down below. It sounds like, something calling to them, something in the darkness is calling to them, and you're like, letting the player's imagination catch that kind of, the thing of horror in their head. Because visually, you are not going to be touching everybody's flavor of horror at your table. Let the players' brains come up with the thing of horror in their head, because that's their own brains are going to be the best thing for, conjuring up, all these visuals for them. You go ahead and put like maybe a token on the table, or a miniature on the table, and it's a goblin, and that's not gonna. But when you go ahead and describe a minuscule creature with the green toned skin, with the little nodules on his shoulders, little hair follicles coming out of them, and he's just glaring at you and goading you down the corridor, you go ahead and you're like, little bastards throwing rocks at us, and this thing's winging poop at you or something like that, like a monkey. Um, and you're like, let's get that little bastard, whatever the hell he is, run down the corridor, and you're ambushed by a whole bunch of these guys, and they're just, slapping you and smacking you and bang, bang, bang on the top of your, iron pot lid of your armor, and and you can't get that on a virtual table. You're not gonna the players are not going to be seeing that. They're not going to be imagining that, you know, this crowd of goblinoids, attacking them from left, right, and center. And the players are like, I'll grab this one and throw them off me, okay, roll for this. Okay, boom, it's done. You can have a lot of fun with it. You don't get that in a virtual tabletop. Your brains are locked into what you are seeing on the virtual tabletop, and your imagination's dulled down to the all-time low, as it should be in those situations, because you're relying on the visual feedback. Yeah, you be using your brains again. So, which is a much better way of imagining things, and you get that feel. You don't have, everything on the table showing you these miniatures and stuff, and you're not scared of, the miniatures before you are not, oozing this awe of aura of, these things are going to kill me or whatever. They're not giving you that. It's when those things are shoving things, shivs into you in the imagination. Your brain is starting to come up with, visual, pictures of these disgusting creatures that were slinging poop at you. And now they're shoving shivs at you with their dirty little knives, or pieces of rock that have been sharpened to points, and they're like jabbing at you and causing you, like, little inconvenient little jabs of pain, in the recesses of your armor. Your brain is starting to bring up these images and stuff, and because you are fixated in that imagination, it's all becoming a little bit more cooler for you. Other players are imagining a totally different thing, but it is conveying the same sort of thing. Little creatures, nasty things. They have their own imaginations of what this nasty thing looks like. One guy has images of the thing having a big nose and, bugly eyes. Another guy is having, like maybe they got these little inset eyes, like just to creep you right out, right? Little small beady eyes. Maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe the other guy is thinking more rat kind of eyes, the bulgy kind of little things, and they're just like, kind of, that's what he's imagining. They're all imagining something slightly different, but to them, it's something icky, disgusting, or whatever. It's all up to each individual to imagine these things the way that they can imagine it. And you've got nothing visual telling them otherwise, unless you go ahead and show a actual picture of the critter or something like that, which I try not to do in most cases, unless it's something totally out of the weird, fantastic then I will show a picture in order for all the players to kind of go, "Oh, we see something really weird here." You want to bring out pictures only when it's like really necessary. Um, the theater of the mind thing is something that you as a game master, you're going to have to go ahead and do some concessions, because when you're doing theater of the mind and you're talking about going through corridors in an example of a fantasy game, which is what we're talking about here. In a fantasy game, um, as a game master, you don't have to worry about positions. You don't have to worry about where the bed is placed in the room. You don't have to worry about where the pillars are in the room. You can describe them once, let the players absorb everything, and let the players play with all the items in the room. The bed, the pillars, the lamp, the lantern, or whatever, the torches. Wherever they're positioned in their heads is where it's at. It doesn't matter as a game master. To me, I am not in control of where they place those things, because the players could use the different things in that room to where they think, oh, I'm gonna just grab the torch here and I'm gonna wing the torch at the little critter that's winging poop at me, and that's cool. That's the cool thing. It doesn't matter if, as a game master, I thought the torch was on the other end of the room. They'd have to run over there and grab it. What I'm not gonna say no. You have to go run across the room and do that. However, you may want to go ahead and make if it's something like a big room and they have to cross a chasm in order to reach, and it's a narrow bridge, kind of like what you're imagining in Lord of the Rings. Gandalf, stops at the bridge and says, "You thou shalt not pass," kind of thing. You're imagining something like that, maybe, and you're saying across there'll be the opening to getting out of here kind of idea. So in your brain, as a game master, that's what you're seeing. That's what's set. The players kind of abide by what you are describing. And then if they say, I want to just go out the door, then you say, yeah, you go running across the narrow bridge, across the chasm, and that's how you're going to make it out. You know, you could have a roll for something. Maybe there's a crosswind that strikes, or something like that. It's kind of like causing the player to kind of, you know, uh, go to the side a bit because of the wind buffeting him as he's trying to cross the bridge. That's what you could, you add these little flavor things in there, and then they make their rolls to see if they make it or they get cast off into the darkness, into the drop of, you know, thousands of feet down below the surface of the earth, or whatever. I could ramble on all day, but um, in some cases, you want to have set things kind of put in place. You must cross the bridge in order to get to the exit. Uh, Other cases, like for example, the room, you just put things in there, and it's like the players can do, grab what they want. Whatever you've set for them visually in the brain, they have access to. So, well, bing bang, they grab the chest, whack them, smash the goblin with the big giant chest, crash. You can do stuff like that. It's the cool things that players can do with the items at hand, kind of idea. Or they may have a plan, uh, of some form that I jump on the bed and bounce off and do a slam attack with I'm just gonna do the wrestler maneuver off the bed. Cool, do it. Roll to hit. We'll give you a bonus for the cool part, right? Or whatever. It's entirely how you want to convey your game as the game master. So, uh, putting in place, you know, these cool things and letting the players do the cool things is important. You don't want to stifle the players. The only time, like I say, is when you have exact conditions. You must cross the bridge in order to reach that exit. Basically, basic. basic rules that the players would have to follow in this particular situation. And players understand that. You know, they can you know, have their imaginative, you know, things in the little quirky areas where it doesn't really matter. I don't care where that bed is. I don't care where the pillars are in this room. Just have at her, guys. You can hide behind the pillars and pretend that you know that your character is, you know, ducking in and out, and you know, taking shots with your bow and arrow if you want. Whatever it is that you think is cool in that situation at the time, go ahead and do it. So that's what I have to say about this whole thing. Check out. I'm not sure if like I agree with like all everything this guy says. There's always going to be like things that I do differently than what this guy would. He did say here, he was like, I can't disagree with this. That's cool. It's cool. He liked it. So um but that's a thing that you may want to, you know, as you know, if you want to try theater of the mind and playing and getting back to theater of the mind, it's cool if you do. If you don't, you want to play with the minis and stuff like that, and that's on you. You know, you want to do that, yeah, play your board game. It's cool. Like I say, I'm 28 millimeter RPG. I like miniatures. I play a lot of miniature games. They're board games, very much usually. Occasionally, I will play like Snapshot, like a traveler version, like current traveler version of Snapshot, where we use the second edition Mongoose rules, and we just play Snapshot with it. It's a board game where you have characters running around the, you know, the ship, and you're trying to kill the aliens or whatever the situation calls for in Snapshot. You know, it could be a boarding party coming on board, and then you just, you know, you just play it as a skirmish game. I'm cool with skirmish games. I'll play skirmish games, no problem. But I don't want to mix my 28 millimeters with my RPGs. So it's my name is a dichotomy of some form. Um, so there you go. Anyways, that's my take. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to attract both you know, sides of the fence. Role players and guys that like miniatures. And saying, "Okay, yeah, it's cool if you want to have both and you know, you know, play it whichever way you want." But when I want to go ahead and actually role play, it's going to be theater of the mind, no miniatures. I want to play a board game, I'll play the board game and I'll have miniatures everywhere and it's cool. You know, either way works for me, but I'm not going to role play the miniature game. So, I mean, I guess you can add little bits of role play in there. That's, you know, it's however way you want to do it. It's cool. Um, so hey, let's put me back in here. Hey, you like what you see? Go ahead and hit the like button or subscribe. Just do it because you learn things. I learn things. I learn things from you. We all learn together. Sing a song. You guys have a great day. So, take care.